All right, taking a look at learning target 452, we want to be able to graph a slope-intercept equation. And the key, again, if it's a slope-intercept equation, y equals mx plus b, we have to have the y isolated by itself. The m, that's going to be our slope. It tells us how much to move from point to point. The b is our y-intercept. It tells us where to begin on the y-axis. So if we look at 2a, we want to be able to recognize that the slope is going to be 2. The coefficient of x is 2. And the number by itself, the y-intercept, is -3. So to graph this quickly without making a table of values, right away we make a dot at our y-intercept. That's where it hits the y-axis at -3. And then we use the idea of slope 2, think of it as a fraction, 2 over 1, which tells us how to rise and run to another point. Remember, slope is rise over run. So to move to another point, I'll rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. I don't just have those points. I don't have any specific domain, so I have to show that I can go anywhere on this graph. So I'll connect the dots. If we look at 2b, very similar, except now our y-intercept is 1. The number by itself is 1. And here our slope is -3. Think of -3 as a fraction, -3 over 1. Again, the key is it tells us how to rise and run to another point. Down 3 over 1. Down 3 over 1. If I connect those points, I've got a quick graph of the equation, y equals -3x plus 1. Looking at 2c, we deal with a fraction, but same ideas apply. We want to be able to identify what's our slope, what's our y-intercept. The number by itself is our y-intercept, that's -2. And our slope here is -1/2. Now, you can either think of the negative with the 1, or you can think of the negative with the 2, but you can't have it both ways, because if you had -1 over -2, they would chop to a +1/2, and now you've changed the slope from negative to a positive. Okay, if you think of it as -1/2 as being the -1 on top, rise over run, drop 1, run 2. Or if you think of it as the negative on the bottom with the 2, well then I'd rise 1 and move left 2. Rise 1, left 2. Either way, it creates the correct line. And our last one, 3y equals 5x minus 6, we have to be a little careful. We can't say, hey, the y-intercept is -6 way down here, and the slope is 5, because we don't have y by itself. So our first step needs to be to solve y by itself. So to get rid of a times 3, we'll divide by 3 on both sides. And we get y equals, if we earthquake this, 5 divided by 3 doesn't simplify, so we're just going to call it 5/3. -6 divided by 3, however, is -2. So we plot our y-intercept at -2. And then we'll rise and run to another point. We'll rise 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll run 3, 1, 2, 3. All you need are 2 points, theoretically. Connect the dots and you're set.